In this video, we'll discuss some of the music ideas of Just Breathe by Pearl Jam. The first music idea that we'll talk about is the fact that this song is in the key of C major. So every note from the song, be it from a chord or from a melody, is from the key of C major. When the notes are from a certain scale, it's called diatonic. So this song is completely diatonic to the key of C major. When you look at the key of C major, there's a family of chords related to that key. The one chord is C major. The two chord is D minor. The three chord is E minor. The four chord is F major. The five chord is G major. The sixth chord is A minor, and the seventh chord is B diminished. And you're back to C. A verse of the song contains 2 measures of C chord followed by 2 measures of G chord. So this song is in 4/4 time, meaning that there's 4 beats per second and each beat lasts a quarter note. So you can play a simple version of the verse of this song by strumming C chords for 2 measures and G chords for 2 measures. So you can do something quite simple to start and just count 4 as you're playing C and G chords. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. The next music idea that we'll talk about is the fingerpicking pattern that's used in the song. So this is a fingerpicking pattern very much in the style of Mississippi John Hurt, who was a great blues guitarist. And I call this a pinch and roll pattern. And what this means is you pinch. You're going to only use 3 fingers for this song: the thumb, index, and middle finger. So it starts with a pinch with your middle finger and thumb, and then so you pinch and then you play 1 string at a time. You're mostly playing 16th notes, but the pinch is an 8th note, so it takes twice as long, and then you start the pattern. And then you're going to pinch on the 1 and the 3 of every measure. The bass note that you play, so we're holding down a C major chord. The bass note is the root of the chord that you're playing, and that's true throughout the entire song. So in this case, for C major, we're going to be playing this bass note, this C note, on the beat. So if there's 4 beats per measure, so you're going to play this on the beat. So you can count 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that I'm pinching on the 1 and 3 beats of each measure. So you can say pinch, pinch. Next, we'll talk about some of the music ideas in the separate sections of the song. So we'll start with the verse. The verse is basically the same pattern that's used in the introduction of the song. So it starts with the 1 chord, which is C major, and plays that for two measures, and then changes to the 5 chord, which is G major, plays that for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. You notice that there's a melody that Eddie Vedder is playing in the song, but for now I would suggest you start by just using the basic C chord, the basic G chord, and get the pattern going, get the feel of the song. The next music idea that we'll talk about is the C major scale that's used for the melody as he's playing a verse. So if you look at string 2, the first fret is a C note. And if you go to where the dots are, coincidentally, basically, you're going to see that those are notes of the C major scale. So the 1 note is on the first fret of string 2. The 2 note is on string 2, fret 3. And then the 3 note is either the open 1 string, or you can play it on the 5th fret of string 2. So those are the same notes, and that's called a unison. So 1, 2, 3, or open string 3. The 4 note is an F, which is on the first string, first fret. The 5 note is a G, which is on the 3rd fret. The 6th note is an A, which is on the 5th fret. See that we're following the dots, so if you imagine that there's a dot on the first fret, you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 7 note is on the 7th fret, and then we're back to the C note, the 1 note on the 8th fret. So that's basically the scale that is being played as you're doing the fingerpicking pattern. So there's a melody that's going on with the chords in addition to the melody that Eddie Vedder's singing. So 2 melodies kind of going on simultaneously. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. That's the C major scale that's used. In the next music idea, we'll talk about that melody that's being played over the chords in a verse. Eddie Vedder is playing a melody in addition to the chords. So that melody basically starts on the 1 note, which is the C, goes to the 5 note, the G, then the 3 note, which is the E, the open string, 5 note, 6 note, and then the 2 note. So it's good to be able to visualize that major scale on those strings as you're playing. So you have to learn the melody and then include that with the chords. So if you go to myguitarlessons.com, we step you through all of the song basically, but each of the parts of the melody as well. So you just got to work it out, visualize that scale. There's a little bit of stretching that he's doing. That's a bit of a stretch right there. And so you might have to play it slightly different and give up some of the bass notes and shift if your hand doesn't stretch that far. So the second chord is a G major chord, and usually that's held down something like this, but this is kind of a unique way to hold it down to reach some of these melody notes. So the way that he plays the G chord is using his middle finger to play the bass note on the 6th string. He's not playing the 5th string, so he doesn't really care, but you can damp it by lightly touching it with your finger so that it doesn't ring out. And then he is playing the D note with his ring finger. So the D note is also part of the G chord, even though you might not be familiar with playing it that way. But when you play a normal G chord, the D string is ringing, so that means the D note is part of the chord, so it's an option to play that note. So what Eddie Vedder's doing is just playing, he's just fretting those 2 notes and then playing the melody. And you do have the option, instead of hitting this 3 note with your pinky, you could play the open string. But you have a little bit less control if you do that. But it might be easier for you than the stretch. So it's up to you. You can play it either way. Your finger picking, what fingers you're using here on your picking hand, is more consistent if you do it this way. But you also have the option of playing that open string. The next music idea that we'll talk about is the chords used in a chorus of the song. So the chorus starts with an A minor chord, which is the 6th chord in the key of C major. And then it adds a G note, the 3rd fret of the 1st string, and that's the flat 7 with respect to the A scale. So this is an A minor 7 chord. You might be familiar with an A minor 7 chord that looks like this. The G string is open and is playing, that's a G note. So that means that another option for playing an A minor 7 chord is to play the G note higher. So that's what's happening here. So the chorus plays an A minor chord and then an A minor 7 chord. And it does that twice. So and then it changes to an F chord, which is the 4 chord in the key of C major. But the F chord also adds that G note, so that turns it into the F note is the 1 note with respect to the chord, and the G note is the 2. So you could call that an F add 2, but a more common way to name it is F add 9, because the note is up high. So you can think of the high F as the 8 note and then the G as the 9 note. So it's a F chord and an F add 9 chord. So the entire chorus is the A minor, A minor 7, A minor, A minor 7, F, F add 9, F, F add 9. The last music idea that we'll talk about is the chords of the bridge. All of the chords are also from the key of C major, and there are 9 measures to the bridge. So it starts with a 5 chord, which is G major, and then goes to an A minor, which is the 6th chord, back to the 5, and then back to the 6. Then the bridge goes to the 4 chord, which is an F major chord, 6 chord, back to the 4, and then 2 measures of the 5 chord. So putting that all together, you have the 5 chord, the 6 chord, the 5 chord, the 6 chord. So those are the first 4 measures. And then the 4 chord, the 6 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, and the 5 chord. So that all sounds like this, and you can actually count the measures and the beats as you're playing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 9, 2, 3, 4. So those are some of the music ideas of Just Breathe. If you go to myguitarlessons.com, we step you through playing the song in detail, as well as the music ideas. We track your progress along the way, so it's a great way to really build the foundation and the skills necessary to play this song well.